We have NVIDIA earnings tomorrow. Are we going to have new all-time highs coming, or is the market going to dump out? We'll talk about that in the video today. It is Tuesday, August 26th, 2025. If you like the video, thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, comment your thoughts. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts, analysis, and live day trading. Let's get into it here today. So the market's here with again, kind of some more mean reversion here. Did you guys miss me yesterday? We didn't do a video, and why not? Well, I mean, come on, guys. Like, look at this. You know, this is just, I mean, pretty poor price action overall. I talked about this morning. It's the last week of summer, and yeah, I mean, it's the last week of summer here. A lot of these hedge funds, a lot of these big institutions, the high net worth individuals, you know, they're on vacation, right? We got 24 million shares on the Qs. A little after 3 o'clock, you can see on the spiders yesterday of just 50 million, including after hours. I think it was like 38 at the close. Today we got 30 million. So, I mean, it's going to be about equal to yesterday, I would imagine, but it's light volume, right? We're not seeing a lot of participation here in the tape. And, you know, it's just not a market we want to be trading too much right now, at least, you know, not too aggressively in terms of day trading and so on. We don't want to be making, you know, when the volatility is low, you know, you need volatility, right, in order to make these trades. But nonetheless, we'll have some return tomorrow afternoon. I wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow sucks even more. Unfortunately, you know, it just is what it is, right? We got to trade the market we have, not the one we want. And sometimes that means you got to look outside the box and just kind of do different things here. In fact, I've actually been kind of trading some cryptos a little bit lately, and namely Ethereum, which had a nice little bounce today, which we thought it would. Also, gold here, got to talk about that too. You see GLD having a nice day that is inching up as we get close to the end of the day as well. But yeah, going into tomorrow, we'll see what happens here with NVIDIA. It's obviously, you know, it could go either way. There is some interest at 185, if I'm not mistaken, just off the top of my head. So again, I'm not really, you know, there's definitely interest up there at 200. And I know everybody's like got their mindset that that's exactly where it's going to go. And, you know, it's certainly possible, right? And they're certainly painting a nice bull flag here on the Qs, you know, on the kind of hourly. So, you know, it is what it is. And we'll see if that does play out. If it does happen, again, I'm just going to maintain here. I still haven't seen any changes to suggest that we're really going to move, you know, much past 6,500 at all, if that, you know, even is the case. So right now we'll see what happens here. Tomorrow, the tape looks kind of mixed, you know, just kind of going over SPX. It's not really any different at the current time. But, you know, it's going to be, I would imagine, on the quieter side unless we get more news. Speaking of news here, Fed Governor Cook, obviously everybody knows by now, has been kicked out, fired. I guess she's going to try to appeal that. But again, one of the things to make sure you're always remembering is, and I've talked about this plenty of times here, just because the 2-year note rallies, and by the way, that's a contract gap, it's not actually up that much, but just because the 2-year note rallies doesn't mean the long end has to, right? ZB is down today. And that's telling us that, you know, they might succeed in pushing that short end down, which is where they're going to try and refinance all their debt, but that's going to cause inflation in the long run, and the market doesn't like that. And the market's telling you it doesn't like that right now, at least that bond market. Stocks kind of mixed here today, and obviously we'll see what happens there. But, you know, the initial reaction wasn't bullish, at least, you know, last night. And we're basically just hovering right above where we were at that point there on the ES. And the RTY still held up pretty well today. And that still has a lot of interest really all week long on the IWM at 235. So that's kind of just been, you know, vibrating around that level here in and out. There is some risk, though, down to 230 towards the end of the week. There's also some risk on the spiders down to 630, just in case you're wondering there as well. I think that if there's risk here, I'm just going to say it's not going to be related to NVIDIA earnings. Sorry, that took me a second. I'll explain here. I'm going to show you this. There's a lot more that I can show you, but I'll just start with this little preview here. And I think if there's anything that's going to happen, it's going to be on PCE. on Friday. And the reason I say that is because take a look at GLD here. This is not, let me repeat this, that is not normal to see an LG1 10 points out of the money, or at the start of the day it was 10 points out of the money on gold. That is a very, very, very large move, 3.22% to be exact. Again, this is gold. We're not talking about we're not talking about AMD or something that can move 10%, in a day like it's nothing. This is gold here, and these strikes are coming up next week too in the volume, and the volume on some of them is quadruple the open interest. So I'll be very interested to see where that shakes out. And if we take a look at the price of gold here, higher lows, right? This is, and by the way, 320, that's like up here. It's, closing in on 3,600, right? So that would be a new all-time high for GLD. This was in this little tail here. That was in like the overnight session on gold futures. It doesn't. So I'm not saying it has to happen, but that's a lot of money that's on the line there. Looking back, that's 100 million in premium in GEX OI, and about 40 million. About 100 million between 315 and 320 just today alone. So these are not little baby retail Wall Street bettors. This is big boy money. Why do I think that's interesting? Well, let's just look at TLT for Friday. Well, if the PCE must be coming in cold then, right? So there must be a huge tail on TLT too. Not really, right? There's really not. You'd think that if a PCE was going to come in super cold, like recession number, and gold was going to pump, then TLT would have a huge tail up here at 90 or 91, right? If anything, the tails are down. The tails are down. So I wonder if maybe something's going to happen here this weekend, and we could see maybe a really hot PCE, and then the market starts to question, wait a minute, why are we even cutting rates to begin with? Just a theory, but if there's risk here, I would say it's tied to that more than anything. Now, just to be clear, GLD only has Monday, Wednesday, Friday expiry, so tomorrow's is irrelevant. But Nvidia earnings is at tomorrow after the close, so the only expiry that would be able to hedge that would be Fridays. So just food for thought there. Why would gold? I'm just trying to think out loud here. Why else would gold have that? And SLV doesn't have anything that looks like that at all. So it's not just a PM related thing. Definitely a curious kind of setup there. So I would be careful here. Again, I still don't think that there's much upside past 65, but if that changes, like I said, I'll let you know. But right now, I'm not really seeing it. The Qs here, again, they have that nice little bull flag. We'll see. We'll see if it works out. They're definitely painting it. IWM up $1.88. We mentioned that earlier. Diamond was the weakest on the day. Semis held up pretty well. Not so much Nvidia, but Broadcom and AMD were up nicely, although AMD came in off the highs, and everybody's favorite stock is red, even though the government is trying to buy them. What a piece of shit, honestly. Sorry, but that's just what they are. IGV down 23 cents here. That's been weak for several weeks. We know that. This is in a downtrend now on the daily. Weekly is still strong, but daily chart on the softer side here. Transport's red to green, but essentially flat there. We talked about rates. There's home builders down 4 cents. IYR down 29 cents. So nothing horrible for those. XLF, that's holding up okay. That should be, 53.50 should be about it for the week though. Maybe it can go to 54, but I think this is about it right here. And then KRE actually had a nice little outside move. Again, that's helping out the Russell, as we mentioned. Broker dealers red to green also. So holding up there. And then oil took a little bit of a spill. Again, pun intended, I think. And back below 64. So bottom fell out of that today. And that's just been in a range. And I mean, this has been in a range for years, honestly. Like literally years. So, we'll see what happens with that here soon. Again, I haven't really had much of a bias on it. in a while. I think the energy stocks are okay though. XLE down 46 cents. Exxon taking a little bit of a breather after that little breakout on Friday. It followed through, so it followed through and it held above the 200-day. So looking a little bit better. XOP right on the 200-day as well, and then there's OYH here backing off the 200, but it did get the weekly close above 250 again. Although that hasn't really mattered, has it? It's still got to break this range. 260 is probably the better level, right? Because you got the pivot there, right? Got the pivot there, and then right there, breakdown, it back tested right there. So a weekly close above that definitely firms it up a lot more. I've been getting a lot of questions about nat gas. I don't like covering nat gas that much anymore. There's not enough speculative demand in it. So if you want to throw away your money, you're more than welcome. But I don't really think there's any edge there right now, at least for me personally. Dollar index down 21 cents. It's choppy, sloppy. Break, retest, or break, reclaim, and then kind of an inside day. I'd give the bulls a slight benefit of the doubt for right now, just because of that setup the last 2 days. Gold I talked about here, it's pumping right now as I'm talking about this. Silver curling up, but again, not as strong here. We got platinum in a tight range. Volatility's going to come to that soon. And then palladium here, slicing pretty good. I think we got a new contract here. Is that why my charts are all messed up? Yeah, probably. So that should show up tomorrow. Anyway, yeah, back to a slice of 1100 and a little reclaim there. So anyway, speaking of new contract, I believe copper will reprint this week. I finally got rid of my runner here. I don't want to get assigned on that. I don't want to get assigned. So, but yeah, this will probably move once the contract rolls. That's probably what's going to happen. Which way? I don't know. I don't care. ETH here continues to hold up here on the intraday. Kind of a little cup and handle type look there on the hourly, or the low time frame and the hourly. And we actually had a small position in this yesterday. We added to it right at the low yesterday. It's a beautiful add, and we got a nice little gain on it already, and still in the money on more of a position. But yeah, love this level right here. Filled the liquidity zone that was left from that pump on Friday. And it's nice and coiled here, right on the hourly. So I think that's going to resolve up. And this should go to the options market. Doesn't matter and has zero effect on crypto, but it should go to 36, even though the options market has zero effect on it. Bitcoin, though, on the other hand, it's still inching up here, trying to get back to 111. And it bounced at the previous all-time high, right? We kind of figured that, and it'll probably mean revert a little bit here too, I would think. But again, the options market has no effect whatsoever on crypto, and anybody who tells you that doesn't know what they're talking about. So definitely don't watch this channel. But anyway, spiders here. There's 644. We could probably see. It's possible to see 645, but it's pretty. Oh, okay. Yeah, we could see 645 maybe. So it looks like they did turn some of the net positive here at 640. It was red all day long. In fact, you hear me mention that in the opening video this morning. I talked about 642 to 6. I said 645, but in the trading room it was like 644, and then like 645 was like the outlier that it could get to. It might get there. We got 30 minutes left. I don't expect it to close above though. It'll just do that and then pull back. Outside of that though, let's not make too much out of this price action here. Like I said, we're just waiting until NVIDIA earnings, and we're digesting a big move. So that's what I would leave it at for now. But anyways, guys, I'll wrap it up here. Again, you guys take care. Don't forget to come find me on CarnivoreTrades.com. We'll see you guys all tomorrow.